What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a video talking about Adderall versus Vyvanse. I've done plenty of both. I was at one point prescribed both of them at different times. I'm actually currently prescribed Vyvanse, and we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be discussing what it's like, what the difference is, because it's not super major. You know, they're incredibly similar drugs, but there is a difference. So, hope you guys do enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do. Also, Rehab Part 5 will be out tomorrow, so please relax, everybody. It's okay. Take a deep breath. Don't worry. It's coming soon. Also, I'm going to be uploading a Q&A probably sometime soon this week, so if you guys have any questions to ask me, let me know in the comment section below using the hashtag AskGoblin. And also, one final thing. Don't forget to subscribe to my second channel. I'm uploading on there again. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to that already. We've gained like 130 something subs since yesterday on that channel, which is just awesome. So thank you guys so much. Check that out in the top of the description below. And without further ado, let's dive into it. So Adderall versus Vyvanse. Now, I've abused a lot more Adderall than I have Vyvanse. I've taken them. I've taken both of these pills for their medical purposes as prescribed, and then I've also abused them. So, you know, I can get a little bit in depth with this. But basically, with Adderall, it's, as you guys know, most of you probably know, I fucking hate Adderall. I hate it. Like, to describe how Adderall feels, it's basically you're just really, really hyper and uncomfortable the whole time. And my least favorite thing about Adderall is that it makes me sweat. It makes me sweat and it makes me uncomfortable. And it gives you that BO sweat, not that like, you know, oh, I'm a little bit moist or oh, I feel warm. Nah, dude. Nah, dude. At least for me, I was a stinky son of a bitch. I was showering like twice a day, reapplying deodorant all the time. Adderall fucking sucked. And on top of that, I also just, it was like the come down was shit. It was way too, like, intense. I was prescribed 30 milligrams of extended release and 20 milligrams of instant release Adderall, which I didn't like either of them, especially the extended release. Like, the instant release I could deal with because it didn't last very long. The extended was AIDS. I fucking hated that shit, let me tell you guys. And I know there's a lot of people out there who love Adderall and like abusing it, and love Vyvanse and like abusing it, but fuck that. You know, in my opinion, fuck that. It's not fun. But basically, you know, with Adderall, I kind of started abusing it maybe like 3-4 months into my prescription. You know, I started upping the dose a little bit, and this didn't last long because of how much I hated it. You know, I experimented with abusing it. You know, I didn't actually full-blown, like, get hooked on it and do it all the time. You know, like, occasionally I would take like 2 of the XR tabs or caps, excuse me, which were 60 milligrams in total of Adderall. Each one was 30. Or I would take like, you know, 3 of the instant releases. I would never really go above like 60 or 80 milligrams of Adderall, you know, because I just felt too fucking geeked. Like, I was curious, and you know, I got a good amount of shit done. Like, I was a productive son of a bitch on Adderall, but my God, did I fucking hate it. And the other thing is, like, on Adderall, a lot of times, you know, when I would abuse it, this was completely my fault. It was stupid of me. I would do it at night, and then, like, I'd be sitting there, like, 6 hours later on my extended release, like, fuck, man, I want to go to sleep, you know? And like, I couldn't. Like, I didn't feel tired, but I knew mentally I needed to sleep. So then, you know, I would, like, I did this all the time. I would, like, pop an Addy before doing homework late at night, and then have to pull an all-nighter, because, like, by the time I could fall asleep, it was, like, 4 a.m., and I had to wake up in, like, an hour and a half. So then I'd just pop another Addy before school and just go to school geeked as fuck, and then be coming down during the school, so I'd have to pop an instant release in the fucking afternoon before my classes ended. It was shit, you know? Just fuck Adderall. Now, Vyvanse is something that's a little more recent for me. I'd kind of meddled with it, experimented with it a little bit in my sophomore year. I remember, oh wait, no, was that my sophomore year or my junior year? No, it was my junior year. Okay, in my junior year, it was like the beginning, and I remember, you know, me and my buddies at this point, we were just popping Addies all day at school. Like, we weren't necessarily getting fucked up on them, like, we weren't doing too much, but I was just taking... Well, I guess we were doing too much. Like, I would take my extended release in the morning, and then I'd pop another instant, like, at lunch, you know, when I didn't need to. That wasn't, like, as prescribed. So we kind of abused them. But eventually one of my buddies, who we're going to call Michelle, she had Vyvanse. And, you know, I was, like, kind of curious. You know, she busted it out, and I'd never seen it. And I figured it was Adderall because, you know, it kind of... somewhat looked like an XR cap, and I was like, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's Vyvanse. And I was like, I'd heard of it, I was familiar with it, but I'd never done it. So I was like, all right, well, give me a try, let me get that. And she's like, all right, here, go ahead. She hooked it up. She was the homie. So I popped the Vyvanse cap, and let me tell you guys, Vyvanse is pretty different, at least for me, how it makes me feel in terms of the effects of it, versus Adderall. When I got my Vyvanse prescription, I got it pretty recently, and I was just not excited about it. I was like, fuck, I hate Adderall. This is going to be shit. Like, this is going to be terrible. And the worst part is, like, even though technically I can just not take it, and I'm going to get a bunch of comments saying, Goblin, why don't you just not take your fucking meds? Well, basically, because I'm in outpatient treatment right now, especially lately, I get drug tested 3 days a week, and they can see the amphetamines, the Vyvanse, on my piss test. And if you refuse to take your medication, like, while you're in treatment, they call that, they call it what you think it would, what you think they would call it, refusing medication. But that's a very bad thing. Then they think you're, not taking it seriously, you're not making progress, you don't give a shit, and then they just berate you and bombard you and fuck you in the ass, and it sucks, So I'm sitting here, like, choking down my Vyvanse every morning, and, let me tell you guys, it is different from Adderall. It definitely is. The first most clear thing is that Vyvanse isn't nearly as intense, at least in my experience. Let me remind you guys, this is my experience. I know in all my drug videos, I always get comments all the time saying, like, Goblin, you're fucking wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I did coke one time, and I was only high for 2 minutes. So fuck you. This is a fake story. Dislike. Well, everyone handles drugs differently. This is how I handled it. So, I took my Vyvanse, and it's not nearly as intense. Like the come up and the peak is not really, feeling wise, anything like Adderall. You feel really awake and good, but you don't feel as, like, geeked and uncomfortable, at least for me. Like, when I took Vyvanse for the first time, maybe, like, the first couple times I felt really uncomfortable, but I got really used to it. Whereas with Adderall, I never got used to that uncomfortable feeling. I never got used to how it felt. I just fucking hated it. Like, it just made me feel shitty every fucking time. So, anyways, I'm taking this Vyvanse, and I'm feeling like the slow, gradual come up, and it's a real smooth thing. Let me tell you guys, it's not anything like Adderall. It's super smooth. Like, you slowly come up. It's like going up a nice little hill, and then you hit the peak, and there's a nice plateau at the top, and you're just sitting there, and then you go back down the hill real slow. You walk slowly. You're not, like, riding a bike down the hill max speed. It's definitely interesting. And the other thing is, at least for me, with Vyvanse, it doesn't make me nearly as uncomfortable. With Adderall, I would literally be sitting in, like, dead-ass winter. Like, it would be winter outside. We'd be, like, smoking a blunt, or not even smoking a blunt, just be outside, and I'd just be dripping. Like, not literally dripping, it was only, like, really armpit sweat. Armpit and, like, forehead sweat. Like, I'd just be sweaty in, like, 40-degree weather, and my friends would all look at me and be like, what the fuck? And I'd just be like, it's my Adderall. It's, sorry guys, it's me. Like, it fucking sucked. Whereas the Vyvanse, like, with Adderall, I always got that fucking disgusting ass BO pit sweat. With Adderall, or with Vyvanse, excuse me, it still makes me sweat, but it's not the same kind. It's hard to describe. It's like with Vyvanse, it's like, my armpits are just moist, whereas with Adderall, there's some fucking BO going on there. There's some motherfucking terrible BO happening with Adderall, at least in my experience. I'm sure many of you can probably relate if you've ever taken Adderall. And, the other thing with Vyvanse is, it doesn't, how do I put it? It doesn't really make you as, like, wide awake, can't close my eyes, can't blink kind of thing. With Vyvanse, it's like, if I really wanted to take a nap, like, I'm on Vyvanse right now. I took my prescription today. If I really wanted to take a nap right now, I probably could, and that's the nice thing. Whereas with Adderall, I pop one of those 30 milligram extendeds, you're catching me wide awake. You're catching me geeked the fuck up. If I wanted to go to sleep, I'd have to probably down, like, 30 fucking Xans. That may have been an exaggeration, but you get my point. It's a bit excessive. It's AIDS, to say the least. It's fucking AIDS, ladies and gentlemen. Adderall sucks. Vyvanse is definitely my preferred amphetamine of choice. My preferred geek tool, as I like to call them, of choice. Excuse me. I always call, like, if there's any amphetamines, I call them geek tools, because they just get you fucking geeked. But, yeah, I don't know. You know, when I was prescribed Adderall, I used to cheek it a lot because I hated taking it, and I would end up selling it. Like, I remember one of my bud plugs back when I was smoking. He really, really liked amphetamines. He was a big coke guy, and he loved Adderall, but he had nowhere to get it because it just wasn't. I don't know. I don't know why. It's not that hard to find, but you know, I came over one day and I had a baggie full of extended releases and instants, and you know, he offered to pay pretty nicely and or trade me some weed for him. So I just started cheeking him and just selling my Adderall because I hated it so fucking much. I didn't want to take it. Whereas with Vyvanse, it's like I'm not even like motivated to do that. It's like I feel pretty straight when I'm on Vyvanse, you know. And to give you guys an idea, for Vyvanse, I'm prescribed 30 milligrams, I believe it is, and there is a difference between dosage with Vyvanse and Adderall. It's not the same thing. Like, with a Vyvanse 30 milligram is not the same thing as an Adderall 30 milligram. It's very, very different. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe the Adderall dosages are higher typically. So I'm taking maybe the equivalent of like a 20 milligram Adderall, I believe. Don't quote me on that. That's just my guesstimate. But yeah, you know, either way, that's really all I had to say today, guys. Just a little video talking about some good old classic amphetamines, my least favorite category of drug. So hope you guys, well, actually, I don't know. Is that my least favorite? I kind of fucking hate Xanax and benzos. I don't know. Maybe we'll discuss that in another video. Either way, hope you guys enjoy. Drop a like if you did. And also, check out my second channel in the description below. I will see you guys next time. Peace.